if I get too loud. Just
I can't.
check 1 2.
I got you.
Deep South Roofing, Brown State Farm Insurance, Brown's Pools and Spas,
Y'all sound great.
John Thornton Buick GMC, Rainwater Funeral Home, Bird Disposal, and Addison Smith Heating, Cooling and Plumbing.
Now, let's set the table for tonight's action.
As we take you live to Taylor Memorial Stadium on the campus of Haralson County High School.
Here are your hosts of the Tailgate Show,
Mike Harris.
Good afternoon. Wherever you are in the world, if you're listening to us and you're cold, come to Taylor Memorial Stadium. You'll warm up in a hurry here in Tallapoosa this afternoon. A little hot, folks, as we get this one going. It's only about 80 degrees with the sun beating in on us. Thankfully, we've got some clouds behind us, or clouds rolling through here. And we'll get us through the next few minutes here as we roll into Week 7 of the high school football season. Great start to the week last night. Tremendous game over at Terrace Stadium, Hines Ward Field. Central with the late field goal came back to beat Jonesboro 24-21. We'll talk about that. Gives them really the inside positioning, I think, to go on to win the region here in Region 3 of Class 4A. Got a full slate of games that are coming up here tonight, including the one behind us here at Taylor Memorial Stadium, which is the only grass field left in the area, I think, isn't it? They play host to Heard County here tonight in a region matchup in Class A Division 1. It'll be the opening region game for Heard County. And for Haralson County, it'll be their second region contest after they demolished Darlington last week. For those of you watching Facebook Live and also the YouTube stream, thank you for joining us. That form of the media, and you can shoot us some questions too. Swole Joel, I hope, will alert us to those questions when you shoot them to us. He can dab if nothing else. Unfortunately, you can't see. We'll get a camera behind us. Shoot you one.
Turn that thing around.
To my left, Coach David Thrower. Were you ever a head coach at any level?
No. I was the head coach at Pelham for 4 days. Pelham High School. I had that job for 4 days.
South Georgia.
Yes.
Not
Southwest
Pelham,
Georgia.
Alabama.
No, it's Pelham, Georgia.
Pelham, Georgia.
4 days.
But middle school, JV, nothing?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I did track for 15 years, and I guess I don't know if I never coached middle school, but JV, I don't know if we ever technically had a head coach.
Gotcha.
We just all kind of grabbed and got him and went with them. You know what I mean? So.
Jay Webb to my right. Ever been a head coach?
Yeah, state champion 6U Bremen softball.
I had to open that door.
Shout out to Bremen softball, baby.
I had to open that door.
They probably had more athletes on that 6U team at Bremen than we did it the 4 days I was at Pelican. When I got hold of some of them films from the year before, I'm like, no, I think somebody else needs to take this job.
Oh, goodness. I walked right into that, man.
6U, baby. Love it.
I'll remember that in the morning when I
No
wake
doubt.
up, believe me. All right, real quick, last week, just a quick peek back after a whole week to digest what went down a week ago. The thing that sticks out to you from week 6.
I think just overall, I would think, Carrollton really just dominant, you know what I mean? Just a huge statement win over Parker. I just think that kind of puts them in a separate category. They almost, take themselves away from the rest of the teams in that region. So, and tonight everybody is going to be in the region play other than Bowden, which will play their last non-region game tonight. But I still think that Carrollton went over Parker. Not the fact that Carrollton beat Parker surprised me, but the dominance. Talking 43-7 over defending 6A state champion Alabama. That's pretty impressive.
Tell you, watched the first half of that game, and there were some guys that could flat out get up and down the field. I don't know if I've ever – I don't think you could see college games that had as much speed as was on the field in that game last week. Everybody Parker had, even the big guys could run.
Yeah.
Jay, what about you from last week?
Yeah, I think for me it was the dominance of Haralson County football.
Yeah.
I think coming into that game, they were looking good, but then I think people thought maybe, okay, the loss going, before the bye week, okay, maybe they're going to, they're not as good as we thought they were at 4-0, and maybe they're still going to kind of fall down and be Haralson County. But a 47-0 win over Darlington, I think they made even more people want to watch this game tonight between them and Heard County, and so just a dominant win for them. So that was a big deal for me to see the statement that Haralson County made last week.
All right, as we roll on here, Week 7, and we get it going here, the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. So the schedule for tonight, Heard County, Haralson County right here. You can hear that game on King Country, 93.7 and 101.9. Tex Carter's got the call of that one tonight. At Bremen, they're 1-0. Temple, surprising possibly 0-1 coming in as they got upended by Pepperell last week. They'll collide, Temple and Bremen. Neighborhood battle coming up tonight over at Bremen. Have that game on KISS 102.7. One of the three of us will have the call of that game coming up in a little while. Mount Zion will host Greenville out at the Eagles Nest. Patriots at Greenville 3-1 going in. This will be the opening region game for both of those teams. Hayden Coker, Michael Miller with a call of the action tonight on Great Classics 98.9. And on B92 Country and also our Facebook live stream and a YouTube streaming game tonight will be the Bowden Red Devils hosting Booker T. Washington coming to town to take on the Red Devils. Second all-time meeting between the two, and that'll take place at Warren P. Sewell Field there. So that's the schedule for tonight of our games here from the Graddick family of stations. Villa Rica also at home. They can even their record at 3-3, but also go to 3-0 in a region at the same time. If they knock off Lithia Springs tonight, jump across the state lines, Ranburne travels to Wedowee to take on Randolph County. And in 9-man football, Holy Ground tries to even their record at 3-3. They're at home tonight with New Creation. So that's the schedule for tonight. So we're going to jump in and break down all of these games and talk some other stuff involving high school football. Well, we'll get to all of that and more when we continue our Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. And we continue right after these messages. We have more from Graddick Sports.
Employee benefits shouldn't touch your bottom line. That's why it helps to have a local partner who really knows our community and your business. At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, we help local companies save on their healthcare spend. Marcy Heath, your neighbor and local benefits consultant, will make sure your employee benefits work for you, not against you. Call 678-821-3508. Rethink employee healthcare with Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Local solutions, proven savings.
Are you tired of these out-of-town roofers knocking at your door? Are you tired of seeing their cheap signs on every corner? These companies have sold their souls to the big private equity companies and are not here to help you with your roof. They just want your money. Stay local with West Georgia and East Alabama's most trusted roofing company, Deep South Roofing Company. Whether your job is commercial or residential, put your faith in a company that invests in your local community. For more, visit DeepSouthRoofingCompany.com.
We're going out tonight.
But I just put on my comfy pants. What are we celebrating?
I just bundled our home and auto insurance with State Farm agent Amy Brown and saved us money.
Oh, nice. But can't we just order in?
Are you serious? We just bundled, and she helped me personalize our coverage.
But what about my slipper and sweatpants bundle?
Contact State Farm agent Amy Brown at 678-840-5000 to bundle and save today.
Prices may vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability, amount of discounts, savings, and eligibility may vary.
You call the play and score big during the ultimate tailgating event at John Thornton Buick GMC with an all-out full blitz on factory incentives like $10,000 off MSRP on the new 25 GMC Sierra HD Denali models, $6,000 off MSRP on a new 25 GMC Terrain, or $3,000 off MSRP on a new 25 Buick Invista at John Thornton Buick GMC in Carrollton. GMC, we are professional grade. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details.
Now, let's get back to the Tailgate Show with our broadcast crew under the Deep South Roofing Company broadcast tent.
Inoventive Benefits Consulting, Bremen and Villa Rica, the benefits consultant beyond the status quo. They're along with Deep South Roofing and Addison Smith Mechanical Contractor, Amy Brown State Farm Insurance, Brown's Pools and Spas, John Thornton Cadillac Buick GMC, Pert Disposal Services, Rainwater Funeral Home, making all this possible. We continue here with our Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. I know you're not supposed to do that video, turn around and look behind you, but Haralson County Band's sounding pretty good down there right now. I didn't realize bands warmed up like that, on the field all the time. But everywhere we go, I think we have bands now.
Yep.
So, All right, fellas, let's jump in here. We got to get to the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown here. Carrollton City Schools, we expect excellence in every person, in every program, in every performance. We go for gold, Carrollton City Schools. All right, so Holy Ground, all those injuries and whatnot, trying to get back on the winning track of things. Got roughed up last week. They got new creation tonight. This is a non-region game, non-conference game that they play tonight. The best news, they are at home, try to even their record at 3-3. And I mentioned earlier, we're going across the state lines here for a moment. Bulldogs of Ranburne are 2-3. This is a non-region game for them tonight. They play host to Randolph County down in Wedowee. The Tigers are 3-1. Ranburne is 2-3, as I said. This is the 69th meeting between the two, so they've bumped heads a few times there. Ranburne's last victory was in 22, won at 27-18. Last year it was all Randolph County in that one. People used to call it Wedowee, I think, didn't they?
Yeah,
You're a LaGrange guy, so you probably know a little bit about that.
Yeah, and Randolph County come over and we did some 7-on-7 with them the last few years. That Coach Prestridge, I believe, is still there as far as I know.
He's the all-time winningest coach.
Yeah, he's been there, won a lot of football games. He's been there for a long time, and really good guy, and he always brought some good kids over there with him. They were impressive. I thought him and Hanley, we used to bring both of them over there to kind
Larry
of
Strain.
Larry Strain, I like both of those guys. They were
Coach Strain retired.
I'd heard that.
Yeah,
somebody told me that, but he had a really great quarterback a couple years ago. But yeah, Randolph County's been playing good football for a long time, and I think Ranburne probably had the work cut out for them tonight.
Like all good rivalries, they can't agree on who's won how many games in the series. Yeah. So Ranburne says the record is Randolph County 36, Ranburne 31, and one tie. Randolph County's record book says 37 wins to 30 for Ranburne and the one tie. So, by chance, Ron Waters, a longtime head coach prior to Pat Prestridge, did you know him at Randolph County?
I did not.
Okay.
I've heard the name, but I've never met him.
Pat Prestridge, 20th year, by the way, is their head coach.
Yeah, I knew he'd been there for a while. Seemed like a good guy.
All right, get a little closer to home here in the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. Villa Rica started 0-3. All of a sudden, they're 2-3. Went in last week, jumped out, 31-0 was the, I think.
31-3 maybe?
Yeah, they were on top of South Paulding, went on to win it, I think 31-20 was the final. So all of a sudden, they got healthy, I think, or healthier. They still got some guys out, so they're 2-3. This one's big tonight. Lithia's 1-4. They're 0-2 in the region. But this one is big from Villa Rica's standpoint because the next 2 weeks, Rome and New Manchester's who they got coming.
That's right. But, the thing about BR is this. Basically, they're 2-0. Because those first three were like the NFL preseason. You know what I mean? Those games are important, but in the big scheme of things, they're not going to affect you going to the playoffs in Class 5A. So, for Villa Rica, I think a win tonight will give them an inside track of getting one of those 4 playoff berths coming out of that region. And even though Rome and New Manchester will be a big, big challenge, I don't see them being that much better than everybody else. I think there's some parity in that region. Mm-hmm. I don't know that, and Rome has historically been the best program, obviously, but at the same time, just looking at scores and kind of knowing a little bit about what's happened there in the past, I think that with Rome and New Manchester, I think Villa Rica can play with them. Mm-hmm. And I think they got a shot if they go out there and really play at a high level and take care of business. But first things first, got to take care of Lithia Springs tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Interesting fact here on our overall, Villa Rica's dominated the series 15-2 in 17 matches. But I think when people look at Lithia right now, they're looking at a team that got beat 63-0 by Carrollton, and I don't think that's necessarily a fair shot for Lithia Springs. I think they're a little bit better than that's. The people around here, that's the game they saw with Lithia. Right. And so I was looking at some of theirs. They lost to Kennesaw Mountain 37-29. They lost to South Paulding 32-21. So, I mean, they're in these region games. They're being competitive in these games. So I don't think this is one that Lithia just comes in and rolls over. I think that Villa Rica obviously is able to handle business and that kind of thing. But I tell you, man, I was looking back at some of these games. Last year, Villa Rica won 49-28. In 2023, Villa Rica won a really close game, 37-34. And then before that, there were 2 other just 3-point ball games. And so this has turned into a little bit of a rivalry over the last few years. I don't see a 49-28 game tonight. I see a little bit lower than that, but I do see a 24-17 type game possibly. But I think the main thing I'm seeing in this is you are in control. You come in tonight, you win, and you control your destiny in the playoff picture. And Villa Rica is certainly capable of winning, but don't take Lithia too lightly. They're kind of getting Ben Arnold in his first year or second year, but Jarvis did a good job there for a long time.
He did. He took that program to another level.
Yeah.
All right, Lithia Springs, first year to play, 1976 was when they started football. Who was the first head football coach in history at Lithia Springs?
Now, Birchfield spent some time in Lithia Springs, but I don't think he was the head coach, was he?
Is that your answer?
Yeah, let's just say that. I'm not sure.
Who'd you say?
Ronnie Birchfield.
I don't know. I think he had some ties to Lithia Springs at one time, but I'm not sure.
I have no. I'm going to go. That was before I was born, Mr. Parrish. But John Fulkerson's the first name that comes to mind. I don't know if he had a stint and came back to Lithia or not, but go ahead and prove us wrong.
The first football coach, 1976, for 1 year, Lithia Springs football history. The man he's a legend.
He's a legend.
Ronnie Birchfield is who it was. See, the guy pegged it.
Living legend.
No, I do want to say this, though, since we're getting off the subject. As an old coach, I do like to hear from former players. And one thing, I've gone back and listened to some of these broadcasts, like during the week or late Friday night when we get done.
Man.
Brendan Dobbs, shout out to Brendan, Mike Springer, Sherrod Drayton, Josh Talley, all former Villa Rica players, have sent me a message in the past couple of weeks. May have been a couple of other guys I missed, but shout out to those guys. All those guys are good players, but more importantly, they've turned into good, productive citizens, and I know they're good daddies and they're good husbands and they're good employers and employees. So, but I got a shout out from each one of those guys, and I want to tell you, I love you boys, and I appreciate everything you did for us.
I do want to say this to take us back to Villa Rica for another interesting fact. I've been doing research because I'm trying to be like the living legend Mike Paris. Is tonight Villa Rica is actually sitting at 402 and 402. Sitting right at 500 all time.
Wow.
And so tonight, I think Villa Rica, in a little bit closer game than people may think, but they go to one game above 500 tonight.
Got to get over the hump, baby.
That's right.
You probably know this. The other good news is Austin Barrett is 2-0. First 2 years at Villa Rica, he's beaten Lithia Springs.
That's right.
So he's 2-0 against them in those matchups. The first meeting between the two, 1988. And they actually split the first two meetings. Villa Rica won the first one, Lithia won the second one. Then Villa Rica won 12 in a row in that series. And you were part of some of those, weren't you?
5-0. That's the third week in a row we were 5-0, baby. Now, don't ask me when our record was against Sandy Creek and Carrollton, okay? But we were wailing on them Douglas County schools and Central back then.
He didn't have to do any research on that at all. He didn't even think about it.
Well, you pointed to me and you knew I knew because you brought that up last week. but we did have a couple close ones. They had some athletes now. They had a quarterback that went to Georgia State and a receiver that ended up going to Boston College one year, and they jumped up on us early. We had to stretch back to come out and get them. But, yeah, we had a couple good games, but we had a couple blowouts too. So, but, yeah, we had a little edge on them, on those guys.
We were talking about Ronnie Birchfield being their first head coach. He was at Douglas County at one time, I think, wasn't he? He came to Central as an assistant to Jack Peak in 1980 and then took over as the head coach in 84? 83
somewhere
or
around in there. Yeah, it was in the early 80s. Yeah.
So, I think he was an assistant at Douglas County at one time.
I want to say you're right, but I couldn't give any dates or anything definite on that. I'm just going on what I've been told from people in the past. So I've never heard anybody say a bad word about Ronnie Birchfield.
Class act.
He's the, like you got Randy Patterson at Harrelson County.
Right.
Well, you got Ronnie Birchfield.
I called Patterson, by the way, to get some info from him about something.
Ronnie Birchfield's like that at Central. Yeah. He's just loved by everybody. Yeah. I don't think anybody's ever said a bad word about that man.
That's right.
And I meant to talk about this last week, and I didn't. I did the Bremen Model game a week ago, last Thursday night. Got to spend halftime with Ricky Tollison, another class act right there.
He's a good one too now.
Yep.
I tell you, he
Good
had
one.
some. I didn't. You go back and look what he did at Villarica and then at Bremen.
Yeah.
Oh man,
He had an impressive record. You know, Ricky Tolson won a lot of baseball games too before he became a head football coach. He was a really good baseball coach. So he took over. He coached the first track team at Bremen.
Yep.
Because they started track the first year I was coaching at Temple. My first year as a coach, Bremen started a track team, and Tolson called me up. He goes, he used to call them trap ball games. He said, "Hey, we're gonna run some track ball games over here. You want to come over?" And
Track ball games.
and don't let him fool you. When you got out there, he had about 30 girls and about 40 boys at a Class A school on the track team. And by the end of the year, they didn't win the region because we had Landmark, who was just dominant. But, I mean, Bremen was one of the top teams. We had like 15 teams in our region, and he probably was the second or third best team and did a great job and ended up having some state champions come out of that group when they were a little older, you know what I mean? But Ricky Tolson's the old school coach. You could give him the checkers team. You could give him the Jacks marble team or the domino team, and they're gonna be competitive. They're gonna fight you tooth and nail.
And he was with Birchfield at Central when they won the state title.
He was, and Birchfield had a great staff. And they had Simpkins and Bailey, and he had Tolleson, and I'm sure there's some others I'm leaving out, but he had some really good coaches.
Last night, I got to see a pretty good game to kick off Week 7. Central scores 2 of the first 3 possessions. So they score, lead 7-0, great drive down the field, force a 3 and out, bad snap on the punt. They get it to the 33-yard line. Well, they give it right back to them the next play, hold them and get it back, and go down and score. It's 14-0. And I honestly thought the way it gone to that point, Jonesboro made some adjustments, found some things, cut it to 14-7 at the half. And then bam, 2 drives in the third quarter, and all of a sudden they lead at 21-14. Central comes back, ties it up, and then the last drive, roughly 53, 55 yards. They use the clock brilliantly. And the Davis goggles, as they call him, was money. First time he kicked a game-winning field goal. I think probably the first time he's been in a pressure situation like that. And kicks the field goal, and they win at 24-21. And Coach's Clinic, going to talk to Umbre Brown, and we'll address this with him. But going back to Week 2, that Oxford game, they really, I think, leaned on that probably last night, didn't they? Would you agree?
Another gut check win on the road.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Your back's to the wall a little bit. They really and truly, and I listened to your call, your game was way better than the Army-East Carolina game. So, I mean, I listened to your every snap of the way. I had one phone call. I missed a little bit of that third quarter. But the bottom line is Central kind of got outplayed in the second half. You know, they kind of looked like they were going to be in control of that thing. But, you know, with their backs to the wall, they come back. They're down 21-14. They score. They tie it. They get a stop. They get it back. They get down and kick the field goal. Make some big plays to do it. So that's a mark of a championship caliber program.
That's right.
And I got a shout out to the Lions and Coach Brown and his whole staff and all those kids because, they just keep getting it done. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I think, nobody's ever mad about a win. No. You know, they got out of there with a win.
Nobody's ever given one back.
Nope. I mean, and so I think they walk out of there. They know they probably were a little sloppier than they wanted to be, especially after those first couple drives. But I think what stood out to me was, I don't know that that's a game that they win last year and the year before under a freshman and sophomore J.R. Harris.
Right.
But last night when there is 3rd and 10 and they're down, and the kid just as a junior now has grown up, and I think obviously you've got a number 5 in Jonas Walton that you can give the ball to, but man, that was a big play, a 53-yard pass down the field.
And that was a sophomore that called it.
The sophomore that called it. So J.R. Harris, I think, is just those are the wins, the Oxford and the Jonesboro win. Those are the wins that Central leans back into in that second and third round of the playoffs where they've struggled the past couple years to get past. I think those are the kind of wins that they lean back into, remember those moments, and just the team and the program has grown up from that. And so, hey, they found a way to win.
Last night's really the first time I've seen J.R. Harris because last year I was doing all the Haralson County games for Braddock. I thought last night his legs were as important, or more important, really, than his arm. Well, his throwing ability. But I'm telling you, he threw several darts, and that last one to Alanson Simmons there.
Dropped it in.
Oh, man, beautiful throw to drop it in. And he got behind a Miami commit, too.
Yeah.
He beat him on that route to catch it.
And they got guys making plays other than Harris and Walton. Obviously, Harris was on one end of that pass. But, I mean, they got guys making plays other than their two big name players. And obviously Walt's got a little brother that's really special.
Yeah.
But they've got other guys too that are, like you mentioned, the sophomore receiver. Ivester is another.
Yeah, Iverster's great.
Made a bunch of plays. So I'm totally impressed with something.
They got, you mentioned Walton, they've got some other seniors, but I'm telling you, that junior class, they got a whole bunch of good players coming back.
Hey, and let's not get out of here without, obviously, the elephant in the room, Goggles. Goggles. Goggles makes the 47-yard field goal, and I've had a chance to meet Goggles a couple times, and he is just
and they call him. That's what they
call him, and he reminds me Jake Davis. Just in case you need to know the young man's name, Jake Davis, but reminds me of Rodrigo Blankenship. Just that kind of personality, hot rod, and man, just came through, and from what I could listen to and see in the replay, man, he was ready for it. He was ready for the moment.
Well, they had to wait on me in the press box because I busted it down those 973 steps from the press box at Terrace Stadium to get down here, and it starts raining there. And anyway, I'm going to talk to Coach Brown and some of the other Atlanta media. A couple of guys had him tied up, so I'm trying to find Davis, and I got caught up with him, and I said, "Hey, do you mind?" Said a few words. They're talking to me. He said, "No, not at all, not at all." And I knew right there, "Hey, I got nothing to worry about, buddy."
Yeah, he's on it.
And it's on our Facebook Live page, by the way, Braddock Sports Facebook page. As of earlier today, over 20,000 hits on that deal, man.
Yeah, let's give those kickers some love.
Well, and the thing about it, too, and I don't know how many games I coached in, well over 300. And we had a couple of games we won on a last-second kick, but we never won one on a 47-yarder.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Now, it's impressive if it's 25 yards to win the game. You take them any way you get them. A 47, that's pretty stout right there. So that's good job. Good job on Goggles.
Those guys, kickers, out high school, college, NFL, they're all different. I'm telling you.
They're different. And we could just say this. We've said it. We've talked about it. West Georgia is blessed with some kickers. I mean, my goodness, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Carter Allen, Julian Vargas.
Yeah.
And look, they missed the field goal. They're going to be the GOAT. But here's the thing. You forget sometimes, I think. They got the one shot. Everybody else, if you screw up during the game, or something, you got another play to live to. Yep. If you don't do it there, boom, that's it for you. You don't get a redo or anything.
Don't forget the snapper and the holder, too.
Oh, well, true.
I will say that, too, J.R. Harris.
Because I was always the backup long snapper in high school. Even in college, I was backup long snapper. So I snapped one time in a game, and it was 13-13 in the fourth quarter. We scored. And we had to kick the PAT, and that was the one time I had to snap in the game. And I don't know how pretty it was, but we kicked it. We won the game 14-13.
I tell you.
That was my one shot to screw up.
You made it.
We got it back there somehow.
The unsung hero last night might have been J.R. Harris in handling that snap for the 47-yard field goal. I saw that on the replay, man. He had to go way up and get that and get it down. That's not easy. So good job there.
You got to have somebody you trust with that hole for sure.
The punter for Jonesboro was their place kicker. God bless him. Let's just say it was an adventure on their snaps. And look, the ones that were good, it took 2 seconds to get it back there to him. I mean, they were just like you were lobbing it back there to him or something, Underhanded pitch. Oh, wow. All right, so that's a breakdown here, opening breakdown, the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. We got more games to talk about here. Week 7 of our high school football season. We are at Taylor Memorial Stadium here in Tallapoosa. Haralson County hosting the Braves of Heard County tonight in a region matchup. We'll talk about that one and the other games. We continue with the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing Broadcast tent. We will return right after these messages.
What if you could turn your healthcare expense into a competitive advantage? At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, we engineer benefit strategies that cut costs by 30 to 40% without cutting the quality your employees deserve. Put control back in your hands. Stop overpaying. Start outperforming. Let's make your healthcare plan work for you, not against you. Call 678-821-3508 today. Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Smarter benefits. Stronger bottom line.
The days are getting shorter and the temperature's dropping. But that doesn't mean your fun in the water has to end. Brown's Pools and Spas is the premier dealer of Bullfrog Spas in the metro Atlanta area. It's also a great time to start designing your new backyard living space centered around a new pool. Brown's Pools can also remodel your old pool and give it new life for years to come. Stop by one of Brown's Pools locations in Carrollton, Douglasville, Noonan, or Dallas today. Brown's Pools and Spas. your trusted pool and spa provider since 1974.
At Rainwater Funeral Home, we create honoring and healing experiences. Our staff members guide your family in creating a meaningful ceremony to honor the life and memory of a loved one, whether it be simple or elaborate, traditional or unique. No matter how it's tailored, we understand a ceremony is an important step in recovering from loss. Rainwater Funeral Home is a family business, so we understand the importance of giving each and every family we serve the level of attention they deserve. Rainwater Funeral Home on North Carroll Street in Bowden and online at rainwaterfuneralhome.com.
Addison Smith has been giving you more since 1954. Not only heating and air, but comfort and reliability. More means honesty. More means integrity. More means finding solutions. More means 24-hour care for your home and your family. Your family is important to us. Right now, they're offering 100% financing with every repair. Visit us online at addisonsmith.net to see what more means and know that when you call Addison Smith, you're calling family. Addison Smith is an authorized Carrier dealership. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Let's get back to the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show.
Our Innovative Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. Don't be taken advantage of by out-of-town roofers. Trust the only hometown roofing company. From inspection to repairs, replacements, and insurance claims. Serving the local community in West Georgia and East Alabama, Deep South Roofing. They're dedicated, dependable, and a proud sponsor of high school sports. All right, we got more to talk about here in the Carrollton City Schools Regional Breakdown. Carrollton City Schools, we are the standard for achievement, innovation, service, and success. Want to see why? Schedule a tour with Carrollton City Schools. Trojans are off this week, by the way. Going back to, not jamborees, the exhibition games, whatever you call them. Scrimmages, thank you very much. I'll use that term. They've been at it 7-8 weeks in a row, so Joey King was ready for a little break. Yes, a little beat up. I think
Douglas County's in action tonight too. Yeah, so it might be interesting.
He coming up. I think he'll reference that they might go watch him play a little bit tonight.
I noticed Douglas County was in action tonight,
and they don't play till what, last week of the season?
Last game of the regular season. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mount Zion opens their region schedule tonight. They host the Patriots of Greenville. Get your notes over there. Get them ready to go there, sir. Brad Gordon, 9th year as a head coach there. This is a series that Greenville is, I guess you could say, handled. Although Brad Gordon's 2-1 against them. Greenville got him last year. Who was the all-time winningest coach in Greenville high school football history? Oh, come on.
That would be, are you asking me or Jay?
Either one.
Oh, you're going to have to go to thrower.
That would be Dwight Hosteller.
There you go. I said that.
Yeah. I think he won 8 region championships in a row.
Yeah.
He started the program at Greenville.
How
he started
about
from
this?
Scratch.
10 years head coach there, and as you mentioned, first year he didn't win the region. The first year and his last year, in between 8 straight region titles, 2 state titles in 80 and 84. Then of course he would win one at Bowden. He would finish his career 37 years as a head coach, 345 wins. I didn't realize he won that many games.
I think he's 5th highest all time.
Something like that, you're right. 3 state titles, 21 region championships. Yep, he's number 5 all time in Georgia, currently in Georgia high school
Let me give you the story on Greenville when Dwight started. They started it as a middle school program. He went over there. He was a JV coach at Manchester. Mm-hmm. He'd been coaching about 5 or 6 years. And to hear him describe it, the Manchester coaches, none of them, he wanted to coach varsity, but none of them were going to leave. They were all there, kind of, pretty much established there. So Greenville decides they're going to start football. Well, Coach Hosteller goes over there, and I think he played maybe an 8th grade, 9th grade schedule the first year. And that group, they played like a JV schedule. Then the next year, I think they played a JV schedule, maybe mixed in some varsity games. Then the next year, they played a full region schedule. And when those guys were juniors and seniors, they won their first state championship.
Wow.
So he took a program of a group of kids that had never played football in their life, and started them out. I mean, they started them out getting them in stances to start with, and just teach them how to take a handoff.
Wow.
And 4 years later, they won a state championship with him at the helm.
And
then won another one about 4 years later.
I'm going to give you a chance. Who is the all-time winningest coach in Mount Zion football history? You know.
I know.
Yeah, you and I talked about this one.
Oh, I don't know.
If I give you a hint that he's going to be on the sidelines tonight, would that help you?
Going to be on the sidelines of the Mount Zion game?
Yeah.
No idea. Sorry, guys.
Brad Gordon.
It'll be Brad Gordon.
Brad Gordon
is the all-time winningest coach.
All right.
2-1 against Greenville.
I overthought that when I was thinking who was the guest picker or something like that. I didn't know what was coming on.
tricky that way. Brad Gordon, his ninth year at Mount
Yes.
Zion, 52-43, his record there. And I tell you, he had the first 2 years, quarterfinals of the state playoffs?
Semifinals. First year, yeah. We had a good run. We had some really.
So you were on that staff?
Yeah, yeah. We had a special group of kids that come through there. For Class A school, we really had some great skilled kids, and we had some gritty two-way players that we put around them, and that was a fun group to coach. And they were they would test your patience on Monday through Thursday, but Friday night when they cut the lights on, baby, they were ready to go. And those guys, about 4 of those kids are coaching now.
Yeah.
So are there some similarities in that team and this bunch he's got this year? Because they got some athletes, don't
they're
they?
younger this year. Like, I hadn't seen these guys fully develop because he's still playing a lot of young kids. So I don't know that they're as dynamic. I mean, we had a Sanford signee, we had a Kennesaw State signee, we had a New Mexico military signee. We had some legit guys. I mean,
two of those guys will be coaching with Bremen right now.
Yeah,
Jace Jordan
and Jay started out at Reinhardt, ended up at Mercer. They took a stop at Lenore Ryan, and he was a great. Jace Jordan was the year before I got there.
Yep.
I didn't get a chance to coach Jace and Jordan. They were there. Matter of fact, they were playing when I was at Trine. We played against them.
They were good.
So they were both good players.
Yep.
And Jace Jordan he may have been the best pure running back, maybe.
Mount
That Mount Zion's had. I don't know, but we had some really good ones when I was there too. But we had we had some college level kids and some Class A ball that you don't often get. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of almost like a generational team. You get one of those like every 20 years maybe.
All right, sir. I know you got some nuggets.
I got
over there.
notes. No, I think tonight is you got Mount Zion 5-1, Greenville 3-1. They share a loss in common. Both lost to Pike County. That's both of their one loss. Mount Zion lost that 35-14. Pike County lost that 43-10. So if you want to compare apples to apples there, Mount Zion probably hung around Pike County a little bit more than Greenville did. I don't think Greenville's had any significant wins. I don't think they've really been tested that much. So I think for me tonight's all about Mount Zion. It's a big win for them, right? You win this tonight. One, you secure a definite winning season.
Right.
You know you can't go worse than 6-4 if you win tonight.
That's right.
Not only that, I think you begin to establish yourself back in that region again, right? You're kind of like Villa-Rica is. You're in the driver's seat. You know you got Bowden coming up, but you know that a Tryon and a Manchester are down a little bit from what they've been in the past. And so for me, Mount Zion, this is not just them beating Greenville. I think this is them making a statement in the region to really, and I know power rankings come into play, but to really say, hey, we're the guy that's right there closest to Bowden in this region. So
and the thing is too, I think from Mount Zion coming off a bad loss because it was an ugly loss.
Yep.
They had a ton of penalties and they had a couple turnovers and they drove the ball. I think they were inside the 15-yard line like 5 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And only come away with a couple because they had one touchdown from a long distance. So they come away empty on the field for a lot of yardage, a lot of points. So they need to get off to a good start tonight.
Yep.
And if they get off to a good start tonight, and Greenville being on the road, they may start questioning themselves because this is the game that cost Mount Zion a shot last year to get to the playoffs because Greenville beat them in Greenville. And, you'd like to kind of get back on that redemption tour that Coach Gordon had talked about earlier. And hopefully they can find a way to pull out the win.
So you win this one tonight, you got a pretty good shot. We're assuming Bowden, the number one team in the region. You got a shot at finishing second behind them and hopefully be at home first round.
You could, obviously could. And, and that Class A Division II is still on the old playoff format.
Yep.
So they're not having to rely on power rankings. So they got to win a region game or two to get in to secure a spot.
Yep.
But you're right, Mike. If they could pick up a couple of wins after tonight, you're looking at a 2 seed. And I'm going to tell you, looking at the playoff parents, which I didn't do this when I was coaching, but unfortunately I can now because I'm just a glorified fan. And not even a so-called expert. I'm just a glorified fan. So the thing is, the region they match up with is very favorable unless you're the 4 seed. So the 4 seed, the 1 seed in that region will be Johnson County most likely, but the other 2, 3, and 4, those are very favorable matchups. So I feel like if they get a 2 seed or maybe even a 3 seed, they got a shot to.
Yeah.
They got a shot to
host
to
a playoff
win.
game.
Yeah,
Let's go.
to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can get it done.
All right, we continue with the Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. Journey to Sewell Field, Warren P. Sewell Field, Dwight Hochstetler Stadium, where tonight Bowden plays its final non-region game. Red Devils at 3-2 against BTW, Booker T. Washington, one of 3 Booker T. Washington schools in the state of Alabama, I learned this week. This one is in Tuskegee, and in fact, it was formerly Tuskegee Institute. Their first year officially to play football at Booker T. Washington in Tuskegee was 1991. They have 99 wins in the school's history. They had some struggles there in the early going.
They had some ugly. I looked at the records too. They had some ugly history.
Yeah,
but they've won recently pretty decent.
Yeah.
They've been very competitive.
The last few years they've been better.
They've been very competitive. Yeah.
So I went through unofficially. Bowden being right there on the state line, playing Ranburne quite a bit, and I think played in Randolph County a few times and some other schools. They are 53, 38-5 all time against Alabama schools or the Red Devils.
Okay. Right.
The majority of those games have been played against Ranburne. What are they, 5 miles apart?
Yeah, they're close.
They can throw a rock almost at each other.
So they've had success there. Bowden beat them last year. 42-18 was the final. I think they've got several guys back. Booker T. Washington does from last year. I think the big thing for Bowden, the question is, Prothro, is he going to play tonight?
Not sure what his status is. I would think he's probably a no-go.
They start region play next week.
That's right, and they had last week off is an open week. This week's a non-region game that I still feel their chances are going to be pretty good. I think defensively for Bowden, they just can't give up the big play because I think Booker T is going to have some big play capability. Coach Finley the other night made the statement. He says when they throw it, they throw it deep. So they like to go downtown with it. So, you don't. And he had a corner that was out too this week that kind of concerned him too. So he's more worried about their defense right now than their offense because the injuries. I think he feels better about the people he can fill in on offense as opposed to having to play some young guys defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bowden tonight is it's homecoming in Bowden, so don't get distracted. Lock in. You know you're probably down Prothro tonight. You may miss Prothro on defense right here. We always talk about him as an offensive guy, but you certainly probably going to miss him a little bit on defense. They did a really good job at working him in, at just having another really, really good athlete on that defensive side of the ball. So I think for Bowden, we saw last week. I don't know that a 3-1 in Alabama. I don't know that it matches up to a 3-1 in Georgia right now. Just in the football, we saw that with Carrollton and Parker. So Booker T. Washington's sitting at 3-1 right now, but I don't see anything real significant in that. So Bowden just needs to go in, handle business, and try to stay as healthy as they can for region play. And if they will, Finley will have them ready to go.
So they got 4 left after tonight, and of course all of them in region play, Class A's Division II. Mentioned Carrollton and Parker last week, and I mentioned it earlier. Got to see the first half of that game. It was 19-7. Carrollton led it at the half. They got a touchdown before the half. Parker I think they had a couple of timeouts and a little bit of time left, and the quarterback it looked like something. I was quarterbacking, getting pressure. It looked like a pass I'd throw. The Spratling youngster from Carrollton,
linebacker,
Memphis commit, who blocked the punt in the game as well. He got he threw it right to him. He got a pick, and that led to a Vargas field goal right before the half. So they led 19-7 at the half. But if Parker had been able to execute and take advantage of a couple opportunities they had, it could have might have been a 21-14, 21-21 game at halftime. But the second half, evidently, Carrollton put the pedal to the metal.
Turned it on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Parker had a lot of talent. I'll say they were too emotional at times. I'll put it that way. They got some penalties and stuff because of that, but they were talented. Oh my goodness! I don't supposedly had 2 commits, defensive linemen committed to Alabama and some other guys, and and I'm telling you, fast.
Well, I'm sure depth played a factor too in the second half because Carrollton's a 6A in Georgia, and they probably got 1,800, 2,000 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Parker's a 6A in Alabama, which they go to 7. But the Alabama schools are not nearly as big as the Georgia schools. They probably got 900 students.
But now,
you know what I mean?
Believe it or not, Carrollton's got some kids that are going both ways at times.
Well, and we talked about
Zakai Helton's one of those.
And I think that's a good thing because bottom line is to win those state championships, sometimes you got to have your best players on the field when it gets down to crunch time.
I'll say this real quick, and we'll jump on Carrollton real fast, but talking about Zakai Helton, if you hadn't seen the article that one of the Georgia beat writers wrote this week about Zakai and his journey through his sickness and all the things, man. You need to go look that up and read it. It's incredible.
He lost
He lost a whole lot of weight.
His sophomore year.
Sophomore year, and just lost his Alabama coaches kind of quit following him, and Georgia coaches jumped on it. But it's an incredible article. Not only that about him, it speaks into what an incredible man Joey King is in that article. So just how he stood beside him.
Is that on Dog Nation? I'd like to read
it's
that.
on Dog Nation.
I'm gonna go back and check.
It's a great article.
So I'm on the sidelines. We finished up Tailgate there last week. I'm on the sidelines, and good old Bernie's around, and he told me, he said somebody, I guess, had told him, thought Mike Bobo was there, and I got some connections through my dad in the ministry. Bobo's granddad was in the ministry. Goes back to Alapaha, Georgia, if anybody knows where that is, down
I know exactly where it's at.
Berrien County. So that's where Bobo's family
They got the
lived
factory
for a while.
down there that makes the popcorn and all that stuff.
It's not in Alapaha. They ain't nothing in Alapaha.
Yeah, they got a place down there. They got. Like your concession, I bet you if you go in the concession stand over there right now, they got a box that's got Alapaha, Georgia.
We got research to do in the break.
That's happened since I left down there.
Selling,
I can tell you that.
Yeah, they got like concession popcorn stuff and all kind of little odds and ends. Alapaha, baby.
So as it turns out, Stacy Searles was there, Georgia offensive line coach, and James Coley, the wide receivers coach. Well, Hilton, first quarter. I'm down there with those guys, and somebody walks over and says, "Hey, Hilton's in the injury tent." I had not been paying any attention, and it got Searles' attention. I can tell you that. And he was in there for a little bit, but he was okay because he came back and played. But, he was there, and they do that. The coaches, even after commitments or whatnot, they go watch him play, stay on top of him.
They follow up,
nowadays. But he was checking. He wanted to make sure he was okay.
I think great ball player. I tell you, I'll say this, and then we can move on to the next. What's scary about Carrollton right this? I was looking at their game last week. Is I don't know that we've seen this out of Carrollton, through the Juju years, because you had a Juju Lewis, and I get that. But the balance, I was looking last week, they ran 32 pass plays, 34 rush plays with two different quarterbacks. Holtzclaw last week came out of nowhere with a passing game, 181 yards passing, so was actually ahead of Cypher in the passing game. Man, they're just scary right now. How do you, as a defense, how do you prepare for them right now? It's impossible.
You got Cam Wood, Peyton Zachary, and Ryan Mosley's quietly. I think he's top 12 or so in the state receiving yardage right
just
now.
Another Georgia commit.
Yeah. he's Cam Wood. People don't realize how good he is. He's not real big.
Cam Scatterboo. Scatterboo Wood.
Yep.
He ain't as big as Scatterboo.
But he runs relentless.
I'm telling you.
He's a fierce runner.
He's the Tasmanian devil. I guess I could use that term.
And he had 20 carries last week, just putting it in his hands.
And Peyton Zachary is a wideout, a return man, and then he had the 84-yard pick six against Gainesville. They got.
They're everywhere.
The
balance is crazy.
And this team may be different from those teams from that standpoint where you don't.
You probably could take Cam Wood, and I've never really watched him practice or anything, but you could probably play him at outside linebacker, inside linebacker. He could probably play a slot receiver. He could play running back. He might could play the guard and the wing tee. That joker's tenacious now. He is tenacious.
Blocking back.
He probably could play DN. He'd probably rush quarterback. I guarantee you, he's a football player.
Yes.
Put him on all the special teams and just, let's let him go, because guy obviously knows how to play the game.
So
play the right way.
I was going through some stuff the other day, doing some social media stuff. Came across some old video from the Charlie Grisham days in the Notre Dame box. That still amazes me, the shift and everything.
Just fun fact, that's what I ran in high school. Really? I was at Central when Cleveland brought the Notre Dame box over with Bailey. So I was a pulling guard in the Notre Dame box.
Unsung hero.
Still got the cadence in my head. 5-man line down, ready down signal. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Come on, baby.
We did a 7-on-7 with Central when Bailey was there, and our kids from troop. And I remember the first time I was in the weight room that night. I wasn't there because I always stayed back with the big boys. We did a 7-on-7 because I coached the line. But our coaches got back. He said, "Coach, you ain't believe this." He said, our two linebackers looked over at each other when they started that shift and started that chant like, "What in the blue blazes are they doing?"
I believe it.
Because that ain't what you normally see 7-on-7. But my head coach and Bailey were pretty good friends, so we just got together because we kind of liked their staff, and they liked our staff, so we got along good.
You mentioned that 7-on-7. You had some Alabama schools. At Troop when you were there?
No, that was at Mount Zion.
Hanley. Mike
Hanley.
Battles wasn't at Hanley at that time.
I remember Mike Battles' name, but I did not.
So he coached at Irwin County years ago.
Right.
Won a state title down there, and went to Alabama to Mississippi, and then came back to Wellborn, where Scott Peavy coached at one time as well. But he ran the Notre Dame box, and he came and spent I don't know how much time at Carrollton with Coach Grisham and them trying to learn as much as he could. And he ran it for a number of years in the 80s.
When I was in high school, Woodward Academy ran it too.
Well, that was the offense at one time.
And, well, even at that time, it was still – it had been it was more in the 60s and maybe the early 70s. But by the time I got to high school, you didn't really see it. But Woodward Academy ran it, and they were like – and them at Carrollton, I think they were a little different the way they did it. But I know Woodward Academy, I know this. We were 8-2 my junior year, my senior year, and I think they were 7-3 the year after I graduated. And that was the one team we never beat. Could not beat them guys. That was the one team that we always finished second in the sub-region because those guys, they knew how to play.
Somebody's going to come out and line up no wishbone one night.
Let's go.
Oh, jeez. All right. That'll wrap up that segment with our Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. Character, courage, and community are what we are all about. Want to learn more? Schedule a tour with Carrollton City Schools. So now we've gone through all, but we got 2 games in Haralson County tonight, one in Bremen and one right here in Haralson County. We're going to talk about both of those as we continue with the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tents. We're coming back. More to do. Stay with us. We'll come back after these messages.
Employee benefits shouldn't crush your bottom line. That's why it helps to have a local partner who really knows our community and your business. At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, we help local companies save on their healthcare spend. Marcy Heath, your neighbor and local benefits consultant, will make sure your employee benefits work for you, not against you. Call 678-821-3508. Rethink employee healthcare with Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Local solutions, proven savings.
When you need the job done right, trust your neighbors at Burt Disposal Services. Burt Disposal has been providing West Georgia homes and businesses with roll-off containers since 1996. Their team is professional, dependable, and can be on site with a 10, 20, 30, or 40-yard roll-off container for your next commercial or residential project. Construction debris, yard waste, don't get hurt, call Burt. To learn more, call 770-826-6789. Online at PurtDisposal.com. When you need tree service, make the call to Evergreen Tree Services, your local, trusted service provider. Evergreen Tree and Right-of-Way Services deliver over 25 years of experience, integrity, expertise, and peace of mind. We have the equipment to get the job done right. When you need someone to handle those troublesome tree projects, give Evergreen Tree Service a call at 770-214-7339. Evergreen Tree Services, individual care, dependable service, and industry professionals.
Are you tired of these out-of-town roofers knocking at your door? Are you tired of seeing their cheap signs on every corner? These companies have sold their souls to the big private equity companies and are not here to help you with your roof. They just want your money. Stay local with West Georgia and East Alabama's most trusted roofing company, Deep South Roofing Company. Whether your job is commercial or residential, put your faith in a company that invests in your local community. For more, visit DeepSouthRoofingCompany.com.
Now, let's get back to the Tailgate Show with our broadcast crew under the Deep South Roofing Company broadcast tent.
Our Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show. They're located in Bremen and Villarica. Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Measurable and proven strategies to take your employment benefit plan to the next level. That's what you get from Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Also, our Tailgate Show brought to you by Addison Smith, Mechanical Contractor. Amy Brown, State Farm Insurance. Brown's Pools and Spas. John Thornton Cadillac Buick GMC. Pert Disposal Services. Rainwater Funeral Home. And Evergreen Tree Service. Coach David Thrower, Jay Webb, and I'm Mike Parrish. Thanks for joining us. We're going to winding this one down for Week 7, Friday night, in our Tailgate Show. And we've gone through the games down to the last 2 of the night with Bremen playing host at Temple at Bremen. And then right here behind us, and again, the only grass field left here in the local area, Haralson County playing host to Hearn County. I will tell you that somebody said, we're going to have grass forever here at Haralson County. I don't know if they have any plans to put turf down here at any point in time or any time soon. I'll put it that way. All right, we'll start our Carrollton City Schools regional breakdown. Bremen bounced back in big fashion last week, routed Model last Thursday night, 42-7, so they're 3-2 overall, 1-0 in the region. Temple's 4-1, and they got boxed out a little bit last week, boxed up whatever. Pepperell, 41-14. And so Temple 0-1 in region play. Got a little surprise, I think, in that one last week. Pepperell, I think a lot of guys back from last year and maybe a little better right now than they were this time a season ago.
No, I think so. We talked about this last week with Pepperell. They had 3 losses, but they were for a combined 13 points in all 3 losses. And so I think Temple got a chance to see that Pepperell's not a bad football team. They've been competitive in every one of their games. And, I was a little shocked, because for the first 4 weeks we talked about Temple being the number 1 offense in the state, and we just did not get a chance to see that last week. Whatever the reason was, if it's just a tip of the hat, the Pepperell defense that they did well. If Temple offense was down, I thought Jackson Gribben, who's just been the warrior leader for that group, his numbers compared to normal were way down last week. So I'm sure there were plenty for Corey Nix and his coaching staff to get in there and dissect last week, because they just did not look smooth last week. So I'm sure they went in and made their adjustments. I'm sure Bremen studied Pepperell film a lot to see exactly what they did to slow that down. And Bremen, coming off the big win against Model, probably had a little extra day. Coach Russell probably had an extra day to get in there and study a little bit and see what they needed to do. So, but yeah, we'll see if Temple bounces back tonight. I hope they do.
So, Coach Russell, Coach Shane Lassiter, both in attendance last week, I think, at Temple Pepperell game. Both of them there to scout to see what was coming with both of those.
Well, and I think too with Bremen, this was the game last year, and even though Bremen after this game got on a little bit of a run, but I think Temple kind of, I'm not going to say they embarrassed Bremen last year, but they really took it. They were more physical than Bremen in this game last year. Go ahead.
They embarrassed them.
Okay.
I was on the sideline.
Well, okay.
They were embarrassed.
All right, so,
I promise.
So here you go.
That's my big notes.
Well, Bremen.
Revenge. That's what I had.
Bremen is a proud program.
Yep.
And Temple, they probably look at Temple still as a little bit of an upstart. You know what I mean?
Well, they've won 19 to 22 times against them. So
yeah, they're 19-3 overall.
But the first time Temple beat them.
Gee, I wonder who's on that staff.
We were 1-1. So we lost the first one by a touchdown. We won the second one. But anyhow, Temple had a really experienced team last year. Mm-hmm. They still got some experienced players on the line of scrimmage, but they're in a quarterback who's played. But they're still trying to fill out some pieces. I think Temple's non-region hadn't been quite as strenuous maybe as it was last year. Some of those teams were a little down compared to a year ago. I don't think a couple of them out in McNair and South Atlanta were quite as good as they had been the year before. So I think maybe that gave Temple a little bit of false hope of how good they actually were. So sometimes you need that loss to bring you back down to earth. So I think this will be very interesting because, Bremen's at home. They're coming off a win. They've had a tough non-region schedule because they had a couple of big wins, but they also had Rabun and they also had Bowden. And they're probably looking for a little revenge tonight, like you said. And Temple's got to kind of find themselves tonight. Mm-hmm. So be interested to see who really comes out and takes it to who.
Now, I have a suspicion that Bremen's defense will have a little different look tonight because of what Temple does. Mm-hmm. They're a little bit out of the ordinary right now offensively compared to what most people are doing these days.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Not many people getting under center, not many people running a jet motion and running the buck sweep and the jet and the trap, the ISO, that we kind of all hung our hat
Sugar
on.
Huddle, race the line of scrimmage, and snap it.
Sugar Huddle makes it tough because you got to get in your base pretty much because it's hard to make those adjustments. And they're going to mix up their formations. That's the beauty of running that offense is it's formation-based and it's a four-backfield offense. And there's a lot of misdirection and there's a lot of shifts, there's a lot of motion. So it can catch you off guard. So I'm sure, like you said, Temple had an extra day to get ready for this one. And I'm sure they spent a lot of time on film this week, spent a lot of time on the practice field going over. And it's not so much being able to execute, it's just knowing what to do and when to do it, and alignment and assignment. I think that's the key on defense, and then being physical when you get to the point of attack.
I think, too, for Temple, it's a tough week. Don't lose your identity. You were the number one scoring offense in the state prior to last week, right?
Yeah.
So don't.
And they're number 2 this
now
week.
they're number 2, right? So don't get too caught up in changing the identity of who your offense is. That thing is work. So don't. And I don't think they are.
No, they're not.
But don't jump ship and be, get flustered or whatever. They still got a good thing going there, and it makes it tough on defenses. So Corey Nix will have them, I think, still just in their identity as an offensive team, and they'll work. I do think they still got to find a way to have a little more threats in the passing game. That part of the game has really struggled. So if they can work some of that out to really loosen some of these defenses up, maybe they'll continue to be the number 1 or 2 scoring offense in the state.
I think Temple's defense too is going to have to really come to play, because I think Bremen is starting to kind of find themselves.
Yep.
I think Faulkner's out one more
Faulkner's
week.
still out. Yep, Faulkner's still out.
Well, he's out, but they've got some other weapons.
Right. They got some guys. They got a nice young Zay Buffington is going to be a great receiver over at Bremen, and he started to come through a little bit last week in that model game. So, and then they got that freshman kid that's pretty doggone good too,
and an experienced quarterback. He's played a year and a half under his belt.
Yep.
Well, he made a throw last week. Turned into an 82-yard touchdown pass, but he made a great throw. And then Jaden Jones, I think, is that who it is?
Jay-Sean
Jones. Caught it right on the boundary, stayed in bounds, and boom, off to the races. Bremen had won 17 straight in this series until last year when Temple got them. Yep. 1998 through 2021.
I wasn't part of any of those.
So they played twice in the 94 season. That was interesting.
No, 94, 95.
They played, well, according to what I found, they played twice in the 98 season, because they played a regular season and a region mini game.
That's right. They played a Monday night shootout.
Yeah.
That was how you determine your tiebreaker in the playoffs.
There you go.
Wow.
Like if you had more than 2 teams that were tied, like if you had 3 teams fighting for 1 spot or 2 spots, and they were all tied and they had all beat each other, the tiebreaker was a 5-minute. Both teams got the ball for 5 minutes. It was like the old playoff rule. The old overtime rule.
Right.
Okay.
So it was a Monday night shootout.
Wow.
So you would 3 teams would get together. You'd flip a coin. 2 teams would go out there. 1 team would sit out. And depending upon how many spots you had, if you were fighting for 1 spot or 2 spots. But anyhow, you'd go out there. You basically play 10 minutes. Okay. Both teams got the ball once. Kicked off just like a start of a game, like a first half, 5-minute half, and a second 5-minute half. And that was and then you turned around, and the loser of that would play the team that was sitting and waiting. So the winner would be in, and then the loser of the first mini game would play the second one against the team that sat out. So
that's why he's a legend.
No, I just been around a long time. So
wow,
that was a Monday night shootout.
All right, good to know.
I think it was Greenville might have been in there with them too. It might have been Greenville, Greenville, Bremen, and maybe Temple.
Okay.
So Bremen, 11 straight years in the playoffs and 15 out of the last 17. And I know it's, obviously the playoff setup is different now than it used to be, but that's pretty impressive. And we're going to talk about Hurd County in a minute, and theirs is even a little bit better than that. But
I'll say
pretty good stuff.
First time we played Bremen when I was at Temple, and Temple program was only about 5 years old at that time, and they beat us 21-14. And after the game, Larry Weatherington came over there and asked our coach if he could speak to our team. And we had like 23 football players. We had like 9 kids that never left the field. They played every special team. They played, offense, defense, the whole 9. They did not literally leave the field. And he just basically told those kids, he goes, this is like game 9. And we had won a few games. We won maybe 3 games that year, 3 or 4. But we'd been in a bunch of games. And he said, guys, I just want y'all to know something. He said, y'all one of the gutsiest football teams I've ever seen. He says, y'all play your butt off. He says, y'all really deserve to win this game tonight. And I thought that was a class act coming from Coach Weatherington. And then the next year, we actually played them, and their playoff spot was on the line, and we beat them 10-6. So for a whole calendar year, the people in Temple would go around and say, what time is it in Bremen? They always said 10-6. That was the thing. That was 1990.
10-6.
10-6.
10-6.
1995. That was my second or third years of varsity coach.
That reminds me of across the state line. You got a second. Hey, you got a second. For the kick 6.
Yeah.
So like that game a few years ago.
Yeah, and then it was a long time again before Temple ever beat them again, I think.
All right, so Bremen Temple tonight. You can hear that game on KISS 102.7 coming up somewhere around 7:15 is when we get our coverage started. And the other game is going to take place behind us right here. Interesting matchup, I think, here tonight. Haralson County, 4-1, 1-0 in the region. Hurd County was off last week. They're number 4 in the state, Class A's Division I, and they are playing their opening region game because they had last week off. Oddly enough, they've played 7 times, and Haralson County has won 4 of the 7 meetings. They won 3 of the first 4. Heard County's won 2 of the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 straight playoff appearances for the folks from Heard County, and 24 the last 25 years. They have been in postseason play.
Yeah, and that all started when Tim went there, like 2002, I think. He kind of got that program settled.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people felt like in the 80s and 90s, Heard County being a one school in the county deal, that Heard County may be a potential gold mine if you got the right administration in there with the right coaches. And they kind of got that right mix when Tim Barron came in there in 2002. And, of course, he, established a great program. It was a consistent winner and eventually turned into a state championship. And then Shane has kind of picked up from there and has done a great job too. So, yeah, shout out to those guys. They do it right. They do a good job. They do it right. They're well coached. Kids are hard-nosed. They're physical. They play hard. They're in a good scheme. If you beat them, you got to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to just let you, roll over and play dead for you.
The other sideline sort of that way, isn't it? Now with Crutchfield 1-9 last year and a turnaround at 4-1.
4-1.
And they're going back. I think of what they do offensively really goes back to some things that Scott Peavy did when he was here.
I think
they're going to try to keep the ball away from you and play good defense.
He's following the same model, basically, is doing that because Harrelson's got they got a lot of similar type kids.
Yeah.
They got kids that are gritty, hard-nosed, physical. They'll have a little size, and they'll have a couple skilled kids to go around with them. And, if you get kids to buy into what you're doing and you got a couple of athletes and then you got a bunch of kids that just buy into it and they're willing to play hard, be physical, be willing to play both ways and do those things that you've got to do, a lot of good things can happen to you.
Yep.
And, Tim, I'll give you a little tidbit. When Tim took over that Herd program, the 2 years prior, they were 0-11 and 1-10.
Wow.
Because they had a 4-team region, so they were 0-10 and made the playoffs. This was before he got there. And actually were 0-10 and made the playoffs. And then I think maybe one of them was a 1-10, one was 0-11. I don't know which was which. But he came in there after that. I think the first year he was there, they won about 9 ball games. 9 or maybe 10. They got the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think this is really for Region 6 in Division 1 ball. This is a huge night of kind of who separates themselves, right? I personally feel like the teams in our West Georgia area, Bremen, Temple, Haralson, Herd, in my opinion, are the top 4 teams in that region. But I think you have to be real careful on this. The 2 that win the night have kind of got they're a little more in the driver's seat of that region,
Absolutely.
and then you get like a Pepperell. Obviously, that if Bremen wins tonight and then Temple's got 2 region losses, Pepperell's starting to really feel good about who they are.
They're a wild card in there.
So Pepperell's kind of been that wild card all year. So this is tonight to me a region game right here. 2 games happening in Haralson County, about 15 minutes apart.
Well, and to your point too, Herd was off last week, so this is their first region game. So they're going to fix to go 6 in a row.
Yep. Right.
So they need to get off to a good start.
Yep.
It's a big game for them because you want to be 1-0. You don't want to be 0-1.
Yep.
And even though you're 4-0 in the preseason or the non-region, because they all count with the power ranking in this classification, but same time you want to be 1-0 in that region. Yep. You want to establish yourself as the front runner.
Yeah, I think the 2 teams that win these games tonight, they feel really good about going into the rest of region play. Obviously, you're going to have a showdown between Herd and Bremen here in a few weeks, and then Herd and Haralson as well. But I think the 2 winners tonight establish a little bit more momentum for that region. We knew this region was going to be tough all year long. Just some numbers and some history. I was looking. 2020 Herd wins. 2021 Haralson wins. 2024 Herd wins. So the numbers say it's Haralson County's time. With the years, they've been flipping back and forth. I have a text. I'm not going to throw the young man / old man's name out, but he's calling a 34-14 win for Herd County tonight. But I think Haralson County's going to put up a fight. I tell you what, and listen, Coach, I know you've said more things as a broadcaster that you said you would never say as a coach. I'm going to give you another one that you probably never said. But for me, for Haralson County tonight, there is such a thing as a moral victory. And I know we don't throw that word around a lot.
I'm not sure Crutchfield would agree with
that. I
you.
don't think Crutchfield's going to agree with that ever. I don't think any coach is going to agree with that ever. But what I think I mean by that is if they can fight with Herd tonight, if they can compete with Herd tonight, we watched Haralson County last year. I watched them at the end of the year, and they were so defeated and so down by the time they got to the Bremen game. But I think these boys, if they hang in there and they play with Herd County, we know Herd County's good. But if they play with Herd County tonight, I think they still feel good going into the rest of the region games versus a blowout, where they feel like, oh, maybe we don't belong here.
I don't disagree with that. I would say this, and basically to your point, Herd has got more bullets in the gun.
Yeah.
They got a few more weapons. They're probably a little more of a seasoned team. They've been kind of building toward this team for a couple of years. They played a lot of these guys were starting as sophomores 2 years ago. They took a few licks that year, but they still got to the playoffs. Last year they got in there and won the region, won a playoff game. So you can see their progression kind of leading up to this team. But for Haralson, it's like, they coming off a big region win. They're playing at home. It's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And like you said, they've got a shot. They're going to be in every game. It's just a matter of you want to play those meaningful games late in the year. It's kind of like we used to say. Of course, we're cutting the regular season off a little early this year, October 31st. But, hey, the games to remember are the ones in November.
Yep.
Well, that's the games you're going to really remember in 10 years, 15 years. So they want to be in there playing those meaningful games late in the year.
For Haralson to win tonight, got to control the football, get some points, but they also need a turnover or two to help them in that, don't they?
And I think I said this about the Villarica game. It didn't turn out to be very prophetic. But you've got to steal a touchdown.
Yeah.
You've got to steal one. You've got to get a double pass, or you got to hit a halfback pass, or some kind of reverse, or maybe a surprise onside, or a fake punt. You need to steal one because, like I said, Herd's probably got more bullets in the gun.
Mm-hmm.
But we know Herd's got Haralson doesn't mean they don't have any bullets.
No.
Because they've got one guy that's been pretty prolific himself.
They got a pretty big bullet.
And a couple of other good players to go along with him.
Yeah.
But they got one guy that he may be the best guy on the field.
Yeah, I have a feeling, I don't know this. I'm not in the Lassiter home, but I have a feeling Coach Shane Lassiter and his boy Max Lassiter has probably been watching a little extra film from the house this week on how to stop that bullet that Haralson County's got in a Kemp Boyd. And I think that'll be a fun matchup, actually, to see Lassiter and Boyd kind of see who wins that chess game. And, man, that's two physical kids right there. So that'll be fun.
All right. So we've got them all covered here. We'll take a break and come back. I won't go out with this. I mentioned this being the only field left that was all grass. Somebody has sent me a text. Says, quoting Mitch Gray here, if a horse can't eat it, it's not worth playing football on. So we'll go to break with it.
Shout out to Mitch Gray, baby.
The Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. One final word. We're coming back right after this timeout.
What if you could turn your healthcare expense into a competitive advantage? At Inoventive Benefits Consulting, we engineer benefit strategies that cut costs by 30 to 40% without cutting the quality your employees deserve. Put control back in your hands. Stop overpaying. Start outperforming. Let's make your healthcare plan work for you, not against you. Call 678-821-3508 today. Inoventive Benefits Consulting. Smarter benefits. Stronger bottom line.
You call the play and score big during the ultimate tailgating event at John Thornton Buick GMC with an all-out full blitz on factory incentives like $10,000 off MSRP on the new 25 GMC Sierra HD Denali models, $6,000 off MSRP on a new 25 GMC Terrain, or $3,000 off MSRP on a new 25 Buick Envista at John Thornton Buick GMC in Carrollton. GMC, we are professional grade. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details.
When you make the right decision, it feels good. Like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why State Farm agent Amy Brown in Villarica is here to help you choose the right protection at the right price. Amy will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages, so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With State Farm agent Amy Brown, it's easy to make the right choice. Just call 678-840-5000.
The days are getting shorter and the temperature's dropping. But that doesn't mean your fun in the water has to end. Brown's Pools and Spas is the premier dealer of Bullfrog Spas in the metro Atlanta area. It's also a great time to start designing your new backyard living space centered around a new pool. Brown's Pools can also remodel your old pool and give it new life for years to come. Stop by one of Brown's Pools locations in Carrollton, Douglasville, Noonan, or Dallas today. Brown's Pools and Spas, your trusted pool and spa provider since 1974.
Let's get back to the Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show.
Thanks for joining us, being a part of our tailgate show tonight. Inoventive Benefits Consulting Tailgate Show under the Deep South Roofing broadcast tent. Also brought to you by Addison Smith, Mechanical Contractor, Amy Brown, State Farm Insurance. I think she celebrated a birthday this week. Brown's Pools and Spas, John Thornton Cadillac, Buick, GMC, Pert Disposal Services, Rainwater Funeral Home, and Evergreen Tree Service. These two guys will be back Red Zone later on tonight. I'll get there at some point in time. But I'll be back talking about recapping tonight's activities. Coming up next, of course, we got Coach's Clinic and then the game broadcast. Again, Haralson County, Heard County's on King Country, 93.7 and 101.9. Pull my sheet out here before I mess something up. Temple Bremen on KISS 102.7. Mount Zion hosting Greenville. That'll be on Great Classics 98.9. And the Bowden Booker T. Washington game on B92 Country. Thanks for being with us. Hope you've enjoyed it and hope you'll stay with us throughout the night. Complete coverage high school football. Coming next, Coach's Clinic. It's straight ahead right after this from Braddock Sports.